The success and failure that you have as a life insurance agent is 100% dependent on how you handle stress and how you can continue to grow your mental mindset throughout the process. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Elite Lab. In the past 4 years, we've helped well over 700 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this YouTube channel, I talk about the strategies, tactics, and behaviors that you can go out and execute so that way you can consistently be able to hit the income goals that you're looking for, growing your agency. And I try to talk about what our clients are currently doing and what I'm doing in my business as well. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. So hopping right into the video, I want to make something super clear and direct. In order for you to be successful as an agent, there's only one thing that matters. It's truly your mindset. It's how are you able to handle stress? Now, how I look at stress is a variety of different things. There are going to be tons of obstacles that you have to overcome as an insurance agent. Specifically, one of the main ones being that everybody's afraid of, which is chargebacks. Okay, so let's talk about mitigating chargebacks as a life insurance agent and some of the things that you can do. Now, I want to give my brief story. When I was writing business consistently, right, I actually stopped for about 3 months and had about $30,000 of chargebacks roll up to me personally. I didn't call it rolling up, but it's just like my own business that I wrote. And I'm not smiling because I'm proud. I'm actually just smiling because of all the things that it taught me. And I want to go through some of those things that you as an agent can avoid and how you can kind of not fall into the same issues that I ran into, right? So one of the first ones is pushing out draft dates. So a lot of agents think that postponing draft dates, especially with a clientele that is not on Social Security billing, is the best way to go about it. Now, let's talk about a few things. All right, so when is it okay for you to post a draft date? Now, this could be something along the lines of, you know, you're dealing with a veteran or somebody that is truly on Social Security. Now, there are tons of different times of the month that people get paid, right? But you obviously have the 1st and the 15th that those are on Social Security, disability, some sort of like monthly or bi-monthly check that they are receiving or getting deposited into their account. And this is going to be more of like your final expense lead, final expense demographic, 50 to 85-year-olds who are mainly just looking to cover their funeral and final expenses, right? In this instance, I don't necessarily love this demographic relative to you writing high premiums. The churn rate can be, and by churn, I just mean like the turnover rate, meaning how many times they're looking for the best new thing to save them $5. And I'm also not really a firm believer in flipping policies unless it's genuinely going to put the client in a better situation, because I think how you get them is how you lose them. So my philosophy has always been, and what I learned is previously the carriers that we were using at the time, we were still getting advances even on the policies that had not issued. They're currently not doing that anymore. But the purpose being, if you're talking to a client, right, you should not, hey, we're just going to see if we can get you approved, right? That's another one-liner that a lot of agents are using. And I'm talking about essentially what happens and how you're going to run into this amount of stress that how you can avoid it, right? So one of them is going to be post dating. So I'm not a firm believer in it unless you really have to, right? I've heard some people call it DOA. That means date of approval or day of approval, which which is essentially going to be that same day, right? Now I like this for a variety of reasons. Remember, you're selling something where you're getting an advance for an entire year. All right, for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't want to get off the phone and not know whether it's actually a sale or not, just to post it in Discord, Slack, or on Instagram or whatever to have people big you up, right? We're trying to make money. All right, the only way you make money is if the policy issues, it hits their account and they give you an advance, right? Number two, you also want to recognize and realize that your job is to put that client in the best position. So if you're talking to them and it's the 10th of the month and you're going to tell them it's going to draw next month, really that's 20 days without coverage. But more importantly, like you're not really like you're asking for the future you to get a chargeback. Because here's how I was taught and here's what I didn't do. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to get advanced anyways. It'll be all right. I didn't know anything about it. I'm only a few months in. I didn't really have any chargeback. I'm like, oh, I'll be good. I'm thinking that, we're making 20, 30K a month. We're in the green. Well, here's the thing that I failed to understand is that those same people who tell you they can't afford it right now, they have to wait for a paycheck, right? Or they need Social Security billing and they're just like, they have no money in the account. That is not ideal. All right. Like, yes, you can put it on their bank to draft in the same day that, they get their deposits. You can do all that, right? These are all just tips and tricks. But I want you to be very, very aware of something. The moment that they go in there and see that that's pulling out an extra $150, $200, whatever it is, right? And they don't have it, they will cancel the policy. They will. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed, right? They will find a way to cancel that policy. Especially if they, these people know how much the money they're making, right? So you have to understand that. Now, for the working class, if you're dealing with a working class person, I'm talking about an IUL lead, a mortgage protection lead, right? Most veteran leads in most instances, unless, like I said, they're just on the less financially stable side of being a veteran. They should have money. Remember, y'all, it's $100 to $200 that they're putting into a policy. If you do not have $100 to $200 on any given day, right, you should not be quoting them for that. You should not even be getting that put in place for them. If they can't afford to put $50 or $60 or $70 or $80 into this plan, they should not be even trying to get that plan for that price. Give them an option that makes more sense, right? Sometimes you may have to walk away, right? Especially if it's like a guaranteed issue or graded option and they don't have money. Now, if they have money and there's guaranteed issue or graded, that's a different story, all right? But if they don't have money and you're going to put them in a guaranteed issue or graded situation where they only have, $150, $200 at the end of the month, it's not the best thing to do. I'm only saying that because I've done it, right? And I'm not saying it proudly at all. I'm genuinely saying that don't be like me. Don't make that mistake. Don't put those clients in that situation. Don't put yourself in that situation. They will charge back. I'm telling you, they will charge back. All right. The second thing is running the right leads. Now, obviously, I run a lead company, so people think that I'm very biased, but I'm not. I'm very agnostic when it comes to understanding and knowing what lead types work for each person. I'm a firm believer that when you start the business, you should be working age leads. You'll put yourself in numerous amounts of stress if you come directly into the business and you go straight into fresh. The reason why I say that is most people, whenever they come into running leads, they think that the leads is going to be the solution. Oh man, it's the leads. They're not good. That's why I'm not closing. No, the leads and you not closing has everything to do with you. Now, how much you close them for has everything to do with the lead because it's the demographic. And then the crazy thing is about that with all businesses, right? My business. If I'm running ads to get any agent, or if I run ads to get an agency owner, well, who has more money? The agency owner. Okay, then there's tiers of the agency owners. So yes, the leads, okay, the actual leads in and of themselves are relevant to two factors. And I explain this on my channel in depth. If you're new, let me catch your attention. All right. Number one is going to be the lead intent. Okay. So what I mean by that is how intentful is the lead? Okay. So an aged lead has less intent than a fresh lead. A fresh lead is looking for something. So they have higher intent. They have higher intentionality to want to move forward. Okay. Then you have lead remembrance, right? Or lead recall. Okay. Lead recall is, do they remember filling it out? Okay. So you could have a really high intent lead, but low recall. That is dependent on the vendor. Okay. Higher intent lead, low recall could be a variety of things. They could have really, really good ads, really, really good call to action, but be selling a Walmart gift card. The lead recall is really, really, really low to what you're trying to say, but the lead intent is really, 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 really high to what they're actually trying to buy. If there's any sort of, if one or the other is off, you put yourself in a bad situation. Now, when you have aged leads, you typically have low recall, right? And relatively lower intent, dependent on how the marketing is. If you have low recall and high intent for an aged lead, that's where you get the ching, 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 okay? That's why some people say, well, just buy cheap leads. It's like, yeah, buy the right cheap leads. I'm a firm believer in you running age, but you have to run the right age leads. If you run a bunch of age leads with people that have never actually filled out a high intent form, then what do you think you're gonna get? Run a bunch of age leads with people that filled out Walmart gift cards, what do you think you're gonna get? Run a bunch of age leads with people that know exactly what it is that they were filling it out. They had high recall and high intent at one time. You're gonna be all right, okay? So that's how you wanna measure and determine like the lead in and of itself. Now, when it comes to deciding what lead you should start with, I always recommend that you do aged. All right, if we're talking about stress that you put on yourself, right? I recommend that you do age. Now, what I would have gone back and done differently, and this ties into chargebacks, is because I was buying such a premium lead and my skill set was not there. My first few months in the interim, I really set myself back. Let me role play for a second. So when I started, I ran all age leads. My first day, they told me to swipe my card for $800. I bought a bunch of age leads, a bunch of stuff locally. I was door knocking, and I was stressed to make that money back. So I was willing to do and say whatever to get it done. I'll be honest. All right. Now I closed some deals, obviously. I made it happen because that's the type of person I am. But I started out by basically breaking even and having to reinvest in more leads because I burned through them. And I didn't have a lot of money. So I had to do whatever it took to make it, right? And then I was such a competitor that I was trying to compete with other people that were doing like 50, 60K, but I was not putting in the work. I didn't have the skill set that these other people had. So I was trying to outbuy my way there, right? Now, there's something that's super important. When you're buying leads, working leads, this ties in with chargebacks because it's super important for you to understand where you're at in the process. Do not try to buy your way out of not having skills. What does that mean? That means that you're saying, okay, well, I need better leads, so I'm gonna just buy more. So instead of me spending $1,000 and working my leads properly, I'm gonna spend $2,000, not work them properly, and now my profit margins are sliced by $1,000. Now, if you're really, really good at selling, then yes, because that means the more leads you buy, the higher your ROI. But for me, I was just spending more money on leads because I didn't want to take the time, effort, and energy to actually convert those leads. When you're buying cheaper leads, right, that still have high intent, okay? And by higher intent, they're just age. So there's low recall, high intent. Understand there's a major difference. I don't want everybody to understand that you can have low recall and high intent. Low recall means I don't really remember filling that out, but I am that person who is looking for that thing, right? When you have that, you are gonna spend a lot of time on the phones, a lot of time, because that's just a part of the process. And by a lot of time, I mean, you're gonna need 100 leads. You're gonna need to dial for 12 hours to really get a crazy ROI. That's what it looks like. You know, that's what it's gonna take. So if you think about it, you wanna be able to play your cards right as an agent when it comes to buying and investing in leads. So I'm a firm believer within your first 30 days, you should be working only age leads, all right? And then you should not get out of age leads until you can easily deposit $10,000. I didn't do that. Right? I was buying way more leads. I was not getting a crazy ROI, but I was making money, but my ROI wasn't there, right? And I ran into a lot of issues. Now, once again, this is as somebody who runs a lead company who would love for every single person that's watching this to buy my leads, right? Because obviously I'd make money, but I also want to make sure that the purpose of this channel is not for me to really promote the business outside of me to just give away free game. If for people that want to come work with us, they can come work with us. So my goal is really for you to be educated on exactly what that looks like and really what you can expect, because that stress is a part of the process. Most people just talk about the glitz and glamour. They post all their stuff on social media. They never actually tell you about the bad days. They don't tell you about what happens when you run into chargebacks. They don't tell you about what happens with their team when they get a bunch of roll-up debt. They don't tell you about what happens when they get blacklisted by a carrier. They don't tell you about what happens when their comp level is changed and altered, and somebody's withholding an override or a bone. It's like there's just so many different things that can happen. They can't get licensed in this state because of something that happened before. We had a bunch of conversations about agency owners who can't get overrides for some of their parts of their agency because of something that happened in their past, right? So you just have to understand that it is still business at the end of the day. And like your job is to be able to handle stress. Like the most successful, the most consistent people in the world, and I didn't talk about financially, I mean as parents, in any field or endeavor that you're in, like the most successful people can handle the most stress. It just is what it is. Doesn't matter where you look. The stress of the moment, whether it's sports, the stress of marriage, whether it's you all kind of as you grow, learning more about each other, but still being in love, right? The stress of business, right? Whether you're a life insurance agent or you're just a business owner, overhead, payroll, expenses, things not always going the way you want them to go, right? There are stresses. That's just a part of life. Stress in the gym when you're trying to work out. Nothing great comes without stress. It's a part of it. And if you're trying to avoid the stress, if you're trying to avoid feeling uncomfortable, it will never happen. You will always be stuck exactly where you are. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Most people don't want to admit the reality of the situation is they're just not ready to handle that stress yet. They haven't become the person who can handle the stress. They haven't become the person who can overcome the day-to-day life of being somebody who's achieving and going after success. And as an agent, one of those things is chargebacks. Another one is being able to actually recruit, getting people to stick, not having people churn. That's just a part of it. You have to pick your poison, pick the battle that you want to fight. So I just want to get on here today to talk about that, because even in my life, like, I'm a little tired, but it's okay. I understand where I'm at right now. Like, in this part of my life, I'm not getting 7-8 hours of sleep, but I have been. Like, for probably since I was like 19, I prioritized getting 7 to 8 hours every night. That was my goal. Now, if I got 6, I was really upset, especially in college. And then when I had a few injuries, so I was like, sleep is super important. But right now, I'm actually flipping that. Right, for the past year almost, I have been getting up at 4:15 every day, regardless of when I go to sleep. So some nights it's 5 hours. I've had a few where it's 4. Most of the time it's about 6 to 6 hours and 30 minutes, and I don't love that. And I'm tired, right? Sometimes I am tired, and I take naps and do what I need to do, and I do get rest on the weekend. So like, it's not that, but like, even as I'm recording this right now, you can see me, I'm a little tired. But I realized that where I'm at, this level of stress is necessary. There's a lot of things I have to build, right, for where I'm trying to go. You know, I have mentors and people guiding me to get me to where I want to be, but I'm also taking the steps and putting myself in the best possible position. That goal is to get to $1 million a month. For those that are new to the channel, we're at about 600K. I think this month will be down a little bit. So it is difficult. I'll be honest. I ain't even gonna sit here and lie. It's not easy going after the goals and achieving the things that you need to, but it is worth it, right? Especially because for me, I'm playing such a long game. And I think you have to realize what game you're playing. And you have to be willing to take whatever comes with that game, right? So when I was an athlete, I had to realize that my body was on the line. I could get hurt at any point in time, break bones, tear ligaments, you could get paralyzed. I mean, there's tons of things that could happen. It's just a part of the life that you chose, right? If you're going to be a business owner, there's times when you can get a lot of sleep, but there's a lot of times where for a few years, you need to lock in. It's just going to be the way life is. Right? And you can go on and on and on. I mean, my wife's a doctor, right? She's went through medical school. Right now she's in residency. It's not easy. Like, but it's stress. Who can handle the stress the most? And I just felt like I had to talk to myself and talk to anybody that does watch or is watching, which I do appreciate you all that do tune in. But like, it's just about stress. It's just how you handle it. Can you handle the stress that comes with where you're currently at or where you're trying to go? If you cannot handle that stress, it's going to be very, very difficult, very, very difficult for you to get and attain the life that you want or get the goals that you're going after. If you can handle that stress, you'll be right where you need to be. So hopefully this video helped. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. If you are an agent and you're looking to get some leads, you can go to Lead Lab CRM. We just actually released our text verified aged leads. Nobody's even doing that. 100% replacements, delivery within 5 minutes. Premium, high intent, aged leads, super high conversion rate. People are absolutely loving them and smashing off of them. But we just released those formally to the public. We also have a new offer coming out here. So you'll probably see some ads circulating for that. We have our agency offer, which we will be bringing back. So many people want it and have been asking about it. So we're definitely going to do that. I am really trying to treat this like a business. I've realized that I'm very new to like this info, higher ticket, like ads, agency thing. I don't really consider myself that. I'm still a life insurance agent, but I do understand that you do have to play the game, right? It's not a game that I'm comfortable playing, but I mean, there's been a lot of things I'm not comfortable with. I'll get used to it. So we're going to be rolling that out. We got a few new AI things coming. We've been building a bunch of AI agents. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff just on the way. We're building, I'm always innovating. I'm at the front lines. We go to events. I really try to get in the trenches with my clients. So that way we can always provide you all with the best leads, the best products, and the best services. If you haven't seen our testimonials or videos, this is just my talking head stuff, but I literally have hundreds of videos with agents, agency owners, like them breaking down the process. Cause like, screw what I'm talking about. You guys got to hear them. Right? These are people that are writing 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100K a month with our leads, right? So it's like, you need to hear from them. So hope this video helped. Outside of that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.